Yes, all right. So I'm going to be doing a presentation on safe spaces in games and also later on talking a little bit about my experience in developing a safe space game. So, who is me? I am a student at DigiPen Singapore, hopefully not going to be a student for too much longer and being an adult. Game development is my passion and I've been doing it since I was in poly, so it's been about more than 6 years now and I'm still pretty happy to be doing it. I love indie games and cozy games, and I think that's perfect for the topic of today, which is safe spaces. And I would say I'm something of a game developer myself, if anybody gets that reference. To preface a little bit, I'm going to talk just a slight bit about my personal experience. I've been to therapy in the past, and something that therapy aims to create for people is a safe space in which they can share some of their memories, some of the things that they're feeling, a very, very cathartic experience. And there are certain games which aim to do that. And even to this day, it's getting more popular, the kind of games which allow you to just sort of be yourself in a space. It's not about fighting, it's not about being powerful, it's just about being yourself and having a relaxing time. So let's go into it a little bit. Here is a circle, and what's special about it is that it's a magic circle. And so what is the magic circle? In games and media, the magic circle is a space in which you suspend the normal rules of the real world, the world that we're in, and replace it with the artificial reality of a game world. So an example of this would be even in real life, games such as tag, when you catch someone and they become it, that's a rule that doesn't exist in real life. You can't just go up to someone and tap them and be like, "You're it." Well, perhaps you can, but no one will understand you. The artificial context of this magic circle allows for creativity and exploration in ways you couldn't possibly get in the real world. The circle might create what you call a safe space. So, what is a safe space? What is it? What does it look like? Can you eat it? That's up for debate. And with safe spaces, we're not referring to checkpoints or literally saving your game state. Safe spaces could be something as literal as keeping your distance from a player or a situation that creates discomfort for you. It's something in VR now where they were exploring, perhaps keeping a safe distance from other players, even in a virtual world. But let's think of something a bit less literal, like communications in games. Something like Hearthstone and Journey. You don't actually get to type out your words to a player, you don't get to say anything. Hearthstone has emotes, and Journey just has the actions of your playable character. These kind of things provide some security for players who won't have to feel the harassment from unkind words. And something that people do wonder is that do safe spaces exist in multiplayer games? And I'm gonna dive into Boundaries. It's a game that I've been developing together with Jedediah, and we're gonna tell you a bit about it. What is Boundaries? It's created by this handsome man you see on the screen. I believe there are now two videos of him. One is a picture, one is his face. And Boundaries is a game where people connect with each other and feel safe in an intimate space. It's a game that he created with the idea of sort of encouraging vulnerable conversation, being able to talk with someone in a game, and also having that fun aspect to it. If you see on the little laptop screen, there's this board, hexagon board, which while you answer questions, you get to fill up. So it's sort of like a little memento of what the players have experienced during this game. To talk about a little bit of the features that kind of focus in on making it a safe experience, there's something called lines and veils, which is before the game, and players actually get to either create topics or with the topics that are already there in those little white bubbles, they get to drag it into the lines or veils section. And this is something where everybody sort of declares what is something they might be uncomfortable talking about. And by prefacing it, hopefully during the game session, no one is thrown into a very uncomfortable situation. Lines and veils are something that originally came out from RPG games because role playing and pretending is something that has no limits. And this was created as a way to sort of have people create boundaries before they start the play. A veil is something that's a bit more light. It is something a player might be uncomfortable with but doesn't want to avoid completely. And a line would be like a hard line, a fence that you wouldn't want other people to cross. It could be a topic that might be traumatic to some, might be very sensitive to some. And another feature we have in the game is tiered questions. Questions in which it'll start off perhaps very casual, like what's your favorite food and what's your favorite color? And it might go a little bit more personal, like do you have a memory that you really like? Who's your closest person and how do they make you feel loved? And slowly, by increasing these questions, we hope that people can sort of open up slowly instead of having to suddenly be exposed to a whole array of emotions. Tend and befriend in games. You might see games like Moonglow Bay, Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing. It contrasts directly with fight or flight, which I'm not saying right. And in times of stress, instead of trying to cut someone off or beat someone up, you just want to reach out to people you find familiar, find friendly, and perhaps reach out for social support. I'm on my last slide, don't worry. My experience working on boundaries, it's been quite an amazing one. I've never dreamt that I could have this sort of experience, firstly, working on a game that's more than just about commercial success and about being fun for everyone. I find it to be so much more meaningful. And especially working with Jedediah, it has been the most amazing thing. Being able to work with him as a friend, as a colleague, he genuinely makes me feel so safe. And I feel so passionate working on this, and that hasn't died. And I'm so grateful for that. And that is the end. Thank you for listening.